phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
When talking about the 2023 recruiting class, a team that used to have the #1 class in the nation during the 2021 college football season was the Oklahoma Sooners, as they had 5-star quarterback Malachi Nelson. They had Makai Lemon, DeAndre Moore, Luke Haas, Trayon Webb, Brandon Ennis, and Josh Bates, all top players in their position. It really seemed like that 23 OU class was going to be special under Lincoln Riley, a potential top 5 class, and this was the first time ever in the Lincoln Riley era where he had multiple commits and had the #1 class in the nation. However, just like many of you guys know out there, this class, it wouldn't last, as after a bedlam loss to Oklahoma State to eliminate the Sooners from the Big 12 championship game, Lincoln Riley up and unexpectedly took the USC job. It was unexpected, it shocked everyone, and it would send the Sooners recruiting class and college football recruiting in the 23 class into straight pandemonium. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what happened to all the players that were formerly committed to Oklahoma in the beginning of that 2023 recruiting class. As usual, before I move on with the video, remember to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's get into it. The first player that I'm going to be talking about is the one that stayed committed. Offensive lineman Joshua Bates, who is a 3-star, but don't get that twisted. Joshua Bates is one of the most underrated players in the nation and one of the best centers in the nation as well. And he's someone that is going to be a great player on the collegiate level. And it's great for the Sooners that he stayed committed, as it really shows how much he believes in the program. Now on to the players that decommitted and did not come back to OU. First, with Malachi Nelson, the quarterback. Everyone knows about Lincoln Riley and quarterbacks, and this wasn't any different this class, as he had one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, the #2 quarterback, in fact, the #2 player in the nation, and 5-star recruit Malachi Nelson. Soon after Lincoln Riley left OU for USC, it was expected that Malachi Nelson was going to follow suit very soon after. As he grew up in LA, he grew up a USC fan, and he committed to be coached by Lincoln Riley. In fact, USC was a top school of his, but he liked Lincoln Riley more in Oklahoma for his future destination to help propel him as a future quarterback in college football and to prepare him for the NFL level. So it wasn't unexpected that Malachi Nelson decommitted from OU and soon thereafter committed to USC. With the next player that did not stay committed to OU, it was Makai Lemon. Makai Lemon is one of the top athletes in the nation on both sides of the ball, but he is going to be playing on the offensive side of the ball on the collegiate level. According to the 24/7 Sports Composite rankings, he is a high 4-star, ranked as the number 40 player in the nation and the #2 athlete as well. He was originally committed to USC, but would eventually decommit and commit to the Oklahoma Sooners. However, when the news broke that Lincoln was taking the job at USC, Makai Lemon would also announce his decommitment from the University of Oklahoma, and he was expected to go to USC as well immediately following thereafter, and just a few days later, he would commit to USC. With the next player that was committed to Oklahoma and then would decommit, it is wide receiver DeAndre Moore. DeAndre Moore is one of the most talented receivers in the nation. One of the highest rated ones at that, number 10 in the nation for receivers, and the number 58 player in the nation, ranking as a high 4-star recruit. He would decommit from Oklahoma, but he wasn't an immediate decommitment. He actually said he was going to remain committed as long as DeMarco was a coach at OU. And if you know anything about OU football, DeMarco is in fact still a coach. However, he would eventually decommit in 2022 in January. As DeAndre Moore and OU, it seemed like the communication was never really there after the whole Lincoln Riley ordeal happened, and it seemed like the new staff didn't make DeAndre Moore a priority, so he looked out for himself and he decommitted from OU. And even though when he decommitted, people thought he was going to potentially end up at USC, being back with Lincoln Riley and former high school teammates in Malachi Nelson and Makai Lemon, that wasn't exactly the case, as it seemed like DeAndre Moore did in fact have a new recruitment, and it seemed like USC wasn't really a top school for him. In fact, the school that he's committed to now is Louisville, and he's back with his quarterback one now in that class, Pierce Clarkson, and he's no longer at Los Al. He's now at St. John Bosco with Pierce Clarkson. Another highly coveted offensive player that was committed to OU and decommitted from this special 23 class originally was Brandon Ennis, who is one of the top receivers, number 2 in the nation, number 18 player, and a 5-star recruit. He would decommit from the Sooners shortly thereafter, Lincoln Riley leaving OU for USC, and the crystal balls came in for him to go to USC, and people really thought USC was in the lead for the longest time to get him, but Brandon Ennis, he played out his recruiting process, and his recruiting process lasts some time, as he just now recently committed, and it wasn't to USC. He in fact would join the Ohio State's 23 recruiting class, as it is really hard to say no as a highly coveted receiver to a school that's producing so many receivers recently in Ohio State. Another special piece of that offense for that 23 class was tight end from the state of Oklahoma, Luke Hasz. Now, Luke Hasz is right now a 4-star, number 82 player in the nation, and a top 5 player in the 23 class for tight ends. He is a very special prospect that has great size, great potential, and has some great athleticism, and people thought he was going to be the next great Oklahoma tight end. He would decommit shortly thereafter when Lincoln left, but he wasn't going to be all USC like some of the other recruits were expected to be, as after he decommitted from Oklahoma, he got an offer from Arkansas, a school that his family has ties to, a school that is very close to where he lives in Bixby, Oklahoma, which is basically Tulsa, which is very close to Fayetteville, Arkansas. So he was expected to go to Arkansas, and that's in fact what he did. Just over a month later after he decommitted, he committed to be a part of the Razorbacks 23 class. The last player from this 23 class that decommitted, not in order, but the last one that I'm talking about that decommitted was running back Trayon Webb. Trayon Webb was one of the top running backs in the class, and he still is. He ranks as a 4-star, number 5 running back in the class, and the number 162 player in the nation. After he decommitted the day that Lincoln Riley left, his recruitment would be all over the place. As he was a highly coveted running back, he was sought by a lot of people, and USC was no longer in the picture for Trayon Webb, as it seemed like he was going to stay more than likely closer to home, and that's exactly what he did. Although he picked up multiple crystal balls at multiple different times to multiple different schools, he would eventually find his way to Florida. After all this decommitment stuff happened for the 23 class, it was going to be hard to pick it up where it was left off for OU, but OU is doing a very good job in recruiting right now. As of the recording of this video, they have the number 25 class. However, before you get on me for saying that's a good class for OU, come back at me at the end of the month in July, or just in a few days, or even better, wait until the whole recruiting cycle is over, because this class for OU is going to be a special one indeed for Brent Venables' second class at OU. When talking about Lincoln Riley's current class at USC for the 23 class, he has the number 14 class in the nation. It's very good, as they have 2 5-stars, 4 4-stars, and 5 3-stars, and they're building something special there at Southern California. However, I will say this, I do believe it's going to be a top class when it's all said and done, but I do want to add this quick note. I don't think it's going to be as good as a lot of people thought it was going to potentially be when all the decommitments originally took place after Lincoln Riley took the job at USC. It's still going to be a good class. However, it's not going to be as good as it would have been if Lincoln Riley stayed at Oklahoma to keep that momentum turning the entire 23 class. Well guys, if you made this far in the video, drop something down in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to have a better 23 recruiting class when it's all said and done? OU or USC? And before you head out, remember to smash that like button, turn on those post notifications, and subscribe if you haven't already. Be Helly out.